So throughout the time, I'm going to say now, I'm up to the age of 10, I had a good few strong experiences. When I was 10, my first very vivid experience was walking upstairs. I went into my room, I had a bunk bed at the time, and there was two boys jumping on top of it. They looked identical enough, but their clothing was similar, but it weren't matching. And I looked at them for a good maybe 6 seconds, and 6 seconds to look at somebody who isn't there is a long time. Normally it's gone in a flash or a blink of an eye. And I turned to go down the stairs, and I thought, well, oh, I don't have any friends around. So I looked, and they were gone. I told my mum, there weren't a doubt in her mind. She said straight away to me, like, they were your brothers. And I felt really good about it. I felt, oh, I have a strong connection with my brothers, but they weren't there, so I was quite confused about it. Um, then there was so going back the last couple of years before the age of 10. We've always had we don't anymore, but we used to always have dolls in the house. It was I don't know, something more of a comfort for my mum, I think, and they always had a hat on. They were tended to be females. Um, I'd always hear them running around, but I was watching Toy Story a lot at that age, and I enjoyed it. So my mum just said to me, "Oh, it's just your imagination. It's you're watching toys come to life on TV. It doesn't actually happen." But part of me was like, "No, it is real. It has to be real." But I'd always hear them running around, and it was quite a bit freaky because again, it was that age that I was introduced to Child's Play too, and Chucky was a pretty creepy doll, so that scared me in the end. I didn't want the dolls around anymore. Dolls, again, they always have hats on, and it was a bit like Rose from the start of the Titanic. It was a big round one. It weren't so exaggerated, but it was very similar, just a little shorter. Um, and again, we have the ornament in the garden that replicates Leah, who's a girl on the bench, and she has a very similar hat on. So again, now I just sort of connect one and one, but again, that sort of seems a bit mental to think that dolls were running around. It's not exactly what I thought. I now think that maybe it was Leah running around with the dolls, and that makes sense to me because it makes me feel quite comfort that she was about and she weren't just another person whose life was gone at birth. I still think her soul had carried on. I think she was still, even now, she's always around, she's always with me. So the dolls we ended up getting them in the attic because I was so scared of them. Now I was thinking I'm not enjoying this at all. So I convinced my mum to get rid of the dolls, and I was quite happy about it. Didn't stop though. I could hear them running around in the attic now, and again at the time I thought it was the dolls. Now I believe it was Leah running with the dolls, and it was quite freaky. So it was just another thing to me now that she was always about. She never left, and she still carries on to do what she's doing now. Just in she's a soul. I'm a human, but at the end of the day, I'm still a soul. I'm just a soul having a human experience, and that the soul's having an animal experience. There's a lot of different ways. Then there's some souls that are just floating around looking for just something more than what they have, I guess. So just because you don't see it maybe or you don't believe it doesn't mean it's real. It's because you didn't see it. What I know what I see, I know what I hear, and if you don't do it, it's just not real to you. So it's a hard argument, I guess, when it comes down to these things. Again, before the age of 10, I was now diagnosed with OCD and Tourette's. The ADHD was it was just a constant on the move. I still am now. It's hard for me to just sit down and mellow out because it's just impossible. It doesn't ever really happen. And the Tourette's, when I say Tourette's, it's not necessarily, shouting out random words or swear words. It was more tics, facial expressions. My thumb, I'd have to put it from the nail side down on a lot of things, and there's certain materials that they use in papers for school books, maybe the science books. I'd have to do it on that, but it was the sort of material I just couldn't touch. So when it was doing it, I'd have to do it over and over until I got it right, and that's quite frustrating for someone when you have to do it on an even amount of times as well. So if I did it twice and it was well, that was the end of it. If I did it once and it was fine, I did it the second time and it didn't go well, then that was me. I was off on one. It might have taken another 5 minutes to do it. The teacher would try and take the book off me, and then like even thinking about it now, like I'm starting to feel a bit like, oh, it's like, oh dear me, what's going on? And I just couldn't cope with that. I'd have to do it. At the end of the day, that was the end of the line. If I didn't do it, then all hell broke loose. Really, I had to do that until I was satisfied, so I could move on and do what I had to do. It was just kind of like a routine. And I think anyone knows what it's like to wake up in the morning and think, right, today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do that. And you get so far, maybe your car breaks down, that's your routine, it's done, it's over, and your head just explodes. Or even something more little, like you drop your toothbrush in the toilet or something, just something silly like that, and your routine is ruined. So when it's something that is you have to do this and you have to do it this way, and have to not be able to do that, it's pretty difficult to just get on with and pretend it didn't happen. It's not as easy as that. But the teacher was like, oh, just give me it all. But then when I'd stand up and tell them I needed to do it and they wouldn't give it back, then that was when it come to the troublemaking, I guess. But at the end of the day, when you have to do something, someone's not letting you do it, and you feel that if you don't do it, then it's going to get heavy. Because again, this friend of mine, my imaginary friend who was there, if I didn't do it, then he's the one that I'd be like, well, you can't do it now. I'd get wound up. So at this point, yes, I'm hearing voices in my mind. I'm 10 years old and I'm hearing voices who's supposed to be a friend of mine, and turns out he never really was. He just wanted to have his own way and have satisfaction from it. So it was difficult. But that was just like the smallest part of it. The rest, I had facial expressions. I'd blink like that, or do something just along the lines of that, or I'd have to do this so many times. I'd have to do that. It was just very simple things.